I'm not gonna lie, this episode fucking wrecked me. Like, holy shit. That was quite the fucking reveal of this episode of Rakugo. Damn. Now the opening makes so much more sense. Holy shit. If you have yet to see this episode of Rakugo, go watch it, because, like, I don't want to spoil you. I really don't, because this is the best episode of Rakugo to date. It is easily the best episode because of the meaning behind it and all of the shit it reveals. You remember Season 1, when we found out the truth about Sukeroku? When we found out how he died and how Mio died? Well, apparently, that was a lie. The truth was finally revealed. And to think we found out like this, of how it was, it's truly sad. So, Konatsu is the one that's responsible for, the parents. Her parents' death. She's the one responsible in a way. And that is why Bon takes it upon himself to carry that weight and make it seem like he is the villain, he is the bad guy. And I'm not saying it's Konatsu's fault overall. She was a child, she didn't understand everything that was going on. But where she's at now and as a child, if she actually remembered or knew the truth, she'd probably blame herself. She's like, I'm responsible for my parents' death. She'd definitely blame herself. And so Bon took it upon himself to place all of this weight on his shoulders, for Konatsu didn't. And he knew that Konatsu would hate him. He knew that she would probably completely despise him and never want anything to do with him, but he did it anyways to save her, to make sure she would never have to live with that burden. And that was such a sad moment when that was revealed. It wasn't even the fact of how they died. It was just now knowing that our poor Bon has been by himself this entire time. It's not just Rakugo and how much it's actually hurt him so much. Now we know the truth of what he has been doing by himself. Why he acts like he does and how he can perform like he does and how he can perform such dark Rakugo. It makes so much sense now because of this weight on him. And now knowing that he has been carrying this entire time, not letting anyone know. He's been by himself in darkness. And the opening song reflects this completely. Because if you see in the opening song, Bon, he lands into like a big ocean of darkness, which he's by himself. And then as you see the light, he actually sees the light and he reaches his hand out. He goes back into the darkness because he doesn't want anyone to know. He doesn't want anyone to know the truth of what really happened. The opening song really shows what this means now, like why it's like that, because of Bon carrying this with him to his grave. And that's why he wanted to die, I think. The reason why he wanted to die is because he wanted to make sure that it carried with him. Konatsu never learned the truth. And it's so sad. I mean, even him saying that he's done with Rakugo, he can't do it anymore, he's empty, he's like a husk, it just hits you right then and there, because this man ain't an evil person. I mean, he has his own reasons, his life was, fucked up for different reasons, but overall, he's not a bad guy. And now we get the truth now of what really happened, and it just makes it even worse. It makes me feel sad for him, and it makes me wonder what's going to happen when, Konatsu finds out the truth. How is she going to react around Bon? Because, I mean, all this time, throughout her entire life, she's just despised Bon. She didn't like him because she truly believes that Bon is the reason why her parents died. But to think that her parents died because she actually got angry or upset as a child, and it resulted in the two of them falling off and then dying. Just crazy. But before I continue with that, though, let's just talk about what was going on in that room. So apparently, Sukeroku was stabbed. He was stabbed by Mio. From what we can gather from the scene, he was stabbed. And there's not a lot of details that are really given in this episode of what really happened to that very moment, like right before those moments we saw. We can assume that there was some form of dispute going on. Either Sukeroku and Mio got in an argument and then she stabbed him or something, or there's a possibility that she was coming after, Bon and wanting to kill him. For instance, just wanting to put him down because we do know they had a complicated relationship as well. or maybe lover suicide. Something like that was going on, because maybe they were acting doing Rakugo or something, because there was a lover suicide story in Rakugo already in Season 1. Maybe it was going along with that. Maybe they were trying to do something like that, lover suicide, or maybe it was going along with, what I said before that. Maybe she was trying to kill Bon, and then Sukeroku, he jumped in front, and he took the stab, and then that's why, Bon was holding him like that, like it's not that bad, and you see blood all over the place. I feel like something like that might have happened. So one or the other. But regardless, though, it makes you just wonder what really did happen there. What was the truth there? I mean, now we know how they died, but what resulted in the stabbing of Sukeroku? Why did he get stabbed in the first place? Hopefully that is revealed, and how that happened in the first place. But now we do know that Bon, he doesn't want anyone to know. He was willing to take this to his grave. He didn't want anyone to know the truth. He didn't want anyone to know what really happened that night, and he was fine with being despised. He was fine with everybody hating him, disliking him. He was fine with that. And even though he knew he was despised, he took great care of Konatsu. He loved her and treated her like his own child. We know that. And I mean, he probably wasn't the best parent, obviously, but still, he did the best he could. And I mean, you gotta realize that even when you're despised or hated, it takes a really good man, a strong man, or a strong person in general to be able to raise someone or watch over someone that completely hates you. Because think about this, okay? It's going to be hard. If someone hates you, despises everything about you, and they'll do anything probably just to get back at you or just say these awful things, it'll be hard to live with yourself. It'll be hard to raise this person because you're carrying the weight for them, and they don't even realize it. But obviously, you're too kind of a person to actually let them know, because that would be completely fucked up. So, just Bond's relationship now, the twisted relationship he has with Konatsu, it just blew me away. Let's talk about the flashback. Getting to see Sukeroku perform Rakugo once again in a young Bon. That was such a sight, because we've already seen these scenes before in Season 1, but seeing them again from a different perspective, because we've seen now the results of Season 2 and 1, it just changes your viewpoint on them, and it's just like, holy crap, Sukeroku, he wouldn't have been able to perform like that if he didn't have a family that he truly loved and cared about him. He wouldn't have done Rakugo like that. And then Bon, he seemed so happy. He seemed like he was truly happy with Rakugo. He didn't feel as dark or depressing. And we know now why he's like that. And just to see how much they've changed since that very moment, that very night, it's just truly jarring when you notice the difference between the characters and how much they've changed. And it truly made me actually happy and sad at the same time when, Yotaro, he was actually watching the play, and he felt like he was watching a movie when he saw Bonds, and then he felt like he was a part of the audience when he was seeing Sukeroku perform. It was such a great contrast between these two characters and how he was visualizing what was going on when he was watching, and it just shows you how their stories really draw you in and how good they are at doing them. So probably best episode to date. Yeah, easily the best episode of Rakugo, Season 2 and Season 1, and it's going to be hard to beat this quality episode. It really will, because what they've done so far, what the studio has done with this episode, is past all expectations I had for the series, and it's a quality episode. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. How did you feel about this week's episode of Rakugo? Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? I mean, how did you feel about everything that was revealed? To, what happened to Konatsu and her parents, to just seeing the sadness of how Bon doesn't want to perform Rakugo anymore because he's losing his voice and he feels like an empty husk. I mean, tell me your honest thoughts. How do you feel about this series now after this episode? And I love you all so much. Please be safe. Chibi out.